You moved to Los Angeles when you were 21.
Yeah.
What was the reason for doing that in the first place?
Well, I remember kind of like what I was saying, how I was latching onto other people and I was working around, you know, and I found myself in all these spider webs in Philadelphia, like between friends and boyfriends, and I was just like, I gotta get out of here. And my brother had an apartment in LA and he was on tour, and he said, why don't you move to LA, live in my apartment, and just like start over, you know, like who says you can't, and you've got this dream that you've never tried, you know. And he's like, I know you do, like, because I keep it really secret, and he'd be like, I know you play guitar, and I know you play piano, you need to like do something, and maybe you're being too distracted and at home. And so I remember my 21st birthday, packed up my guitar, one suitcase, one big fat dream, and just went out to LA. And I was so scared and I was so sad because my whole family was in Philly, and I wrote a song called Backwards, which is a bonus track on the album, and about being like ridiculously homesick and scared, and you know, it was the best thing I ever did.
But those first few weeks, you were there just by yourself? By myself,
looking for a job. I found a job waitressing, so pretty fast, like a week. And then I met a guy and got distracted again. But it's all good because I wrote songs about it. But I just took a chance. I jumped, you know, off a cliff, and that was me flying to LA.
And when you now think back about that period, what thing will stay with you the rest of your life, do you think?
Courage. I think like remembering that I just, as scary and crazy as it all was, like I just kept waking up every day and like doing it anyway, and just having like, you know, persistence and courage, and I will totally remember that forever.
And is the album specifically about that period, just the Los Angeles years?
No, the album starts back from when I was 15. So there's like, if you know me, it kind of goes along with when I was in love and when we broke up, and then in love and then we broke up, and it's like this, you know, it narrates my life for sure.
But do you need to write these songs to get those stories out of your system, or is it just a way of capturing them so you can go back to them or something?
You know, I don't know. It's when I'm completely overwhelmed with an emotion is when I write a song. Whether it's like, they're not all about breakups and falling in love, but they're all about feeling really emotional. So whether that's even loneliness or fear or whatever it is, like I know it's like a sign, like a volcano or something, and like I can feel that I'm just overwhelmed with some emotion, and I need to run to an instrument because that means that this thing is coming through me and I need to write it down or play it. So it's, I never know. I never ever know. I could write a song on the airplane tonight and I don't even feel it coming, but it may come.
But is the feeling where that comes from, is that ever joy, or is it always some sort of misery?
Yeah, it's definitely joy. There's a song, the last song on my album that I wrote was this past December called Penguin, and it's like the cheesiest, softest, sweetest version of love. You know, and the sweetest side of me. So it's, you know, I have my good days too.
It's there.
Yeah.
You already said it, that when you recorded the album, 33 days straight, you really have to tune in to certain emotions to get it right on the record. Isn't that ridiculously hard to...
Yes, and you know, it's funny, I didn't prepare myself for it because I never made an album before. So I show up in the studio and I was playing the guitar and the piano and then did all the vocals and then the harmonies and the doubles and the, you know, it was like, I didn't have a break. Like my band was like hanging out in the lounge, you know, and I'm like running, we rented 2 studios, so I'm like running back and forth. And I'm so busy that I forget that, okay, today I'm singing The Lonely, right? And this song I wrote about a relationship with loneliness, like personified. And I do not want to remember that. That was the summer of 2010, and I was like, you know, my life is all great, but like I drive home every night by myself and just totally just a mess and super lonely. So for me, like, I can't half-ass it. I can't kind of remember what it was like. And like, I remember going in the vocal booth and I'd be like, oh crap, you know, because like I have to unstitch my heart, remember back to that time, and then if I don't nail it, like if I don't actually feel everything I sing, like I gotta tell him like, hey, let's do this tomorrow, like I'm not feeling it, like. So when you hear the album, like, you know I went through it, you know I'm not faking it, you know I'm not bullshitting, like I am legitimately feeling this feelings all over again, which was so cool between the period of recording and releasing the album, at least in America. I felt like I finally gave it away, like that whole time I had it, but nobody else had it, was really emotional too. Like I felt still vulnerable all the way from January to May because I still had this thing, and then I finally put it out in the world and it's like, you know, those songs, those stories, you know, they're out, you know. I sing them every night, but it's a different type of high, it's a different type of feeling, you know.
I think that's a nice way to end this conversation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That was great.